I want to show you how we work in projects in QuickBooks Online and how specifically we can create an estimate and then bill out different line items of that estimate and even percentages of that line item. So if you have a project that you've created an estimate for that you bill out a little bit at a time, this is going to be the way that we do that in QuickBooks Online. The first thing that we need to do is to make sure that our progress invoicing is turned on. And I'm going to the settings by clicking that gear icon in the top right corner. And then from there, I'm going to click on the sales tab. And I want to come down here to progress invoicing and make sure that that's turned on. This is where we're going to create multiple partial invoices from a single estimate. So we want to make sure that that's turned on. And this is available to us inside QuickBooks Online Plus subscription. We can create an estimate by clicking the plus new button, and under the first column for customers, we're going to click on estimate, and then I'm going to make a fake estimate for us. And let's say that I've got a couple of different items on this estimate. We've got rocks. And like all of this is just fake stuff. It doesn't really matter. But if you were creating an estimate for a project for one of your clients or customers, this is how we would do it. So maybe you want them to purchase the products up front from you, and then you bill out the services at a different time. So we've got a pretty hefty estimate going on here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click save, but I'm going to stay here on the estimate, and we need to click that it's accepted. And then what we're going to do is create an invoice from this. And QuickBooks is going to ask you, do you want to just go ahead and invoice the total estimate, like all of the line items, or do you want to do a certain percentage of each line, or do you want to do a custom amount for each line? So we have a couple of different options, but let's look at what happens when we choose the custom amount for each line. And choosing the custom amount for these lines, we can say, I want to do 35% of the first one. I want to do 50% of the sprinkler heads. I want them to buy the garden rocks up front, so I'm billing out 100% of this line. Maybe I only need a 25% deposit on the weekly gardening service. Maybe I only need a 10% deposit for the installation fees. And maybe I want them to buy the rock fountain up front, so 100% of that line gets billed out. So QuickBooks took our original estimate, which we could see here if we wanted to, because that estimate is now linked to this invoice. And then we tell QuickBooks how much of each line do we want to bill out. So if I save this invoice, when I go to my estimates tab under my sales, you'll see this is the estimate that I just created. When we have already billed out part of the estimate, we can go back and convert the rest of that estimate to an invoice. And we can tell QuickBooks, go ahead and bill out the rest of it. We can do a percentage of the rest of it, or once again, we can manually tell QuickBooks what to bill out for each line. So let's go ahead and do that again. What's left over for us? So we do have to put in the remaining amounts. So I think I did 35 for that, so 65. But we would probably just pull up the invoice that we just did and bill out the rest of it. I got it right. We would just want to make sure that we have it pulled up so that we gather just whatever's remaining for those invoice line items. And then once we've built out the entire estimate and created that into different invoices, this shows us on the estimates list that this was completely converted to an invoice. So we have nothing left on the estimate to bill out. So I hope that helps. If you are doing progressive invoicing like this, there's a couple of different options that you can play around in QuickBooks Online. But if you're doing this manually in an Excel spreadsheet or a Microsoft Word document, you're having to go back and check, what have I already billed out? What do I need to bill out again? So you are already kind of doing those calculations somewhere else. But if we get them here in QuickBooks Online, that helps us collect payments easier and more accurately and quicker. Hope that was helpful. Let me know if you've got any questions or if you're confused at all about this process, and we can go over that together.